This is In the Black with T. Dallas Smith. Conversations with trailblazers, glass ceiling breakers, and champions for change who inspire and cultivate leaders every day.
My guest this week is Jay Bailey, a dynamic and visionary leader dedicated to empowering others and uplifting his community. As president and CEO of the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs, Jay has led Rice's incredible growth, now sustaining over 1,400 jobs and generating over $450 million in economic impact for Atlanta. His exceptional leadership and commitment to the community has been recognized by 3 U.S. presidents, including President Obama's Lifetime Achievement Award. Jay, welcome to In the Black.
Brother, I feel in the black. I wore my Bill Black Business t-shirt,
Yes,
my
sir.
black hat, my
Yes,
black-owned watch company, my black-owned building.
Yes.
Because I knew I was coming to talk to T. Dallas Smith, so I had to come correct.
Man, hey, dude, I'm so excited about this interview. And so just excited about you, who you are, and what you've been doing, particularly at Rice. So we're just going to jump right into it.
Sure.
And again, none of these questions are questions you don't know the answer to because it's dealing with you. So give the people who don't know anything about Rice, give them your elevator pitch, which I've heard a million times, which is awesome. The person who's listening to this for the first time, you want to know what Rice is. You're listening to Jay Bailey, the president and CEO.
This is home. This is the home for black entrepreneurs that we've always deserved. For everybody listening, I'm physically sitting in the largest center in the world dedicated to growing, scaling, and developing black businesses in honor of what many would say is the greatest entrepreneur Atlanta ever produced, Herman J. Russell Sr. This becomes this safe space for black entrepreneurs to fail and fly. And I'm sure at some point, Dallas, we're going to talk a little bit about the man himself. But over the past 4 years, we have grown a company from zero to honor this legacy. Standing at 54,000 square feet today, 12 months from now, it'll be standing at 78,000 square feet. That is owned by the community, in the community, for the community, and unapologetically focused on black entrepreneurs. Like, this is becoming the space where the best resources in the world are under one roof. And we sit at the nexus of access, opportunity, and exposure in a building that makes you believe, that undergirds your self-esteem, self-confidence, and belief before we teach anything. And so to have this space for us, a place where we can see value in our own reflection, fierce intentionality, because if you walk around this building, like I said, from the t-shirt I'm wearing, the watch I'm wearing, the water that I'm drinking, the snacks that we eat, the furniture where it came from, the architect, the construction, all of it, black owned. And we spend more with black companies than most Fortune 1000s. But that's really the epicenter of this place. Let it be the place where dreams come to be launched. Let this be the place where businesses come to grow. And we're just getting started, bro. And that's the exciting part about it.
That's crazy, man, because it's only been, is it 4 years now?
4.5 years, but you got to give me 2 of them years back because we were in a global pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. In 2019, we launched.
Yeah.
And coming from zero, we support 360 entrepreneurs full time. We touch about 10,000 annually. Our entrepreneurs contribute over $116 million of annual revenue in Atlanta, have created over 1,600 jobs, and just in the last 3 years have literally generated over $470 million of new economic value to the city of Atlanta. And again, we're still trying to figure out what we do well. So, brother, when we start thinking about that destination spot for our community, this becomes it.
Yeah, man. Dude, I'm full disclosure, I sit on the board for Rice. So this could sound like one big giant commercial, but the reality of it is, the even reason I'm on the board is because of the man that Jay alluded to, Herman J. Russell. Affectionately, we called him HJ. I worked for HJ for 6 years. Lessons I learned from him have taken us to places I never would have been. People talk about T. Dallas Smith and Company and the things that we're doing. I tell people, literally, all I'm doing is what I saw Herman Russell do. And so, you know, Jay, I just got put on Georgia Power's board the other day.
I saw it, brother. Congratulations. I sent you the text.
I got it, man. I appreciate it.
I jumped out of bed when I said, oh, the boy moving up.
But you know, the first person I thought about was HJ.
HJ.
And the reason I say that is something very, oh man, I don't even know how to explain it, but if you've seen it happen before, it literally just gets in your psyche. It becomes a normality. You know, I was with HJ when he talked to presidents, when he talked to governors, when he talked to mayors. So when I'm talking to the mayor or I'm talking to the governor, it just seems this is a normal thing that you do. So I think about coming into Rice, and particularly that art piece where the plaster, I love that piece, kind of mimicking HJ. I tell people all he was, and I don't mean to demean that. All he did was focused clearly on plastering. He was a master plasterer, I think, about age 8, because his dad was a master as well. But he took that one seed and grew it into a mighty forest, man, not just an oak tree. So my question to you, Jay, what is it about entrepreneurs that you love supporting? Because it comes through everything. It just exudes out of you, man. But what is it about it that just resonates with you?
I think that people lose sight of the power of entrepreneurs. Every big company that we worship or we shop with, I don't care if it's Amazon, I don't care if it's Microsoft, UPS, Delta Airlines, whatever big Fortune 50 name that you want to throw out there. Sam Walton was a guy with a pickup truck driving around Arkansas and created Walmart and created the kind of legacy that his great-great-great-great-grandkids will all be wealthy because this guy had the courage to pursue an idea and a dream when probably everybody was laughing at him. The power of the entrepreneur to literally pull down ideas from the sky and put in the heart, nerve, and sinew, the determination, the grit, the courage that it takes to ebb and flow and go up and down. These big companies were once medium-sized companies, and they were once small companies, and before that, they were just someone's idea. Entrepreneurs and small businesses, they're the undergirding of our economy, and we lose that sometimes. That's where jobs are created. That's where communities are stabilized. And like, if you have ever seen someone catch it, that moment where they understand that their life could be vehemently different because of this idea they had. And T. Dallas, I have the honor of seeing that monthly. Dozens of individuals to say, wait, I have the power to fundamentally change the trajectory of my life and perhaps the lives of generations that I'll never meet because of this idea I just had. If you see that, brother, the high that you get from that is unlike anything else. My motto is plant seeds that will grow trees whose shade you may never sit under. You just talked about the shade that you still sit under from the seeds that were planted by HJ over 80 years ago. For me and you to be on this call now where you inspired me before I even knew your relationship with HJ Russell and Company. But to now to see how you've poured into the next generation of T. Dallas Smiths because you become what you behold. And that's what I got from what you just said. I've normalized the success. I've normalized that I'm supposed to have an office however many floors up you are as I'm looking out your window there. Yeah. I normalized that this is where I belong. And so that notion of creating spaces that do that at scale, not symbols of hope, but an institution that literally manufactures hope at scale. That's what gets me going, brother. This transaction, the building of something that wasn't there. And it's always, I've been doing this since I was a young kid, and I've always been attracted to it.
Talk about your first entrepreneurial thing for Jay Bailey, for the young Jay Bailey.
The House of Boom. I was 12 years old. But I tell the full story that I was always a hustling kid. I was a horrible student. I used to make popsicles in an ice tray and sell them for a dime. Bro, I was so cold with it. I used to charge people 50 cents to fight in my backyard so they wouldn't get caught in the front yard. Like, seriously. South DeKalb County, Decatur, Georgia, Glenwood Road, Columbia Drive. I was riding my bike to the barbershop. And when I was growing up, you could have put a Bentley next to a Ferrari, and I'd have taken a Mustang GT 5.0 every day of the week. My barber parked illegally in front of the barbershop when I was riding my bike there one day at 11 years old, had a black-on-black convertible Mustang GT on triple gold Dayton's, and I lost my mind. I ran in the barbershop, and I screamed out, "Whose car is that?" He gave me the nod. Long story short, That man at that moment whispered in my ear that he was an entrepreneur, that he owned that business. And what I needed to do was go find something I love and go make money doing it. First time in my life that I had ever heard the word entrepreneur. First time in my life I had ever heard someone talk about ownership. Fundamentally changed the trajectory of my life. And so I can't understate the power of that moment because it lit a fire in an 11-year-old kid that then became a 12-year-old business owner who now leads the largest center in the world dedicated to growing Black businesses. And at my house of boom, brother, I used to love car stereo equipment, big speakers in cars. I wouldn't read a book a page thick for homework, but if you give me a book 1,000 pages thick on how to rewire a Honda Accord, I'm reading it cover to cover.
All day long.
So there's that aspiration-based learning that I learned a long time ago. And the only reason I made it to college, T. Dallas, was because I was an entrepreneur. If I was dealing with wattage and ohms and angles and geometry to build boxes and enclosures, today that'd be called STEM education. So my aspiration to be a successful business owner met my need for education. I wasn't there because my mama said I could do better or my teacher said I wasn't living up to my potential. I was there to get dangerous. So AP Calculus, AP Physics, they're related to my business. Now this relevance came together and I took off. It raised my GPA up just enough to qualify for the Hope Scholarship that then sent me to the University of Georgia. But that was through entrepreneurship. And it was because of that.
I mean, I love it. So help me, you touched on a couple of things. One that I think is very important, mindset. And the mindset of, I can believe for $100, right? I got the $100 belief here. I can believe, okay, now I want to believe for 1,000. Okay, now I want to believe for 10,000. I want to believe for $1 million to 10 million. I mean, like the idea of believing that thing that cannot be seen, that thing that can't even be touched, but you have that spark of the thing that you're supposed to do. And I found that the biggest challenge is mindset. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Without question, bro. I remember being a sophomore in college, and I still believed that the most that a Black person could make was $50,000 a year. And I'm talking about people that were doing well, doctors, lawyers, accountants, big jobs, corporate leaders. My mindset based on my environment and what people talked about was kind of like the highest position I'd ever heard of was a supervisor. If somebody was a supervisor, they were a boss. So when we talk about access, opportunity, and exposure, I say this, I think we lose GDP every year because the brilliant ideas that reside on the south side of the tracks of every city in America never reach the marketplaces. They don't believe they belong. And the only difference between Buckhead and Bankhead is access, opportunity, and exposure, which all translates to mindset. What do I believe is even possible? I remember I was at a dinner with a whole lot of my friends, and a lot of them had PhDs and MBAs and were these big folks. And I was just, my boy had just sent me a note that they had just acquired a restaurant group. And I won't say the name, but I was saying, we need to start supporting this restaurant. And all of these very smart senior level executives and lawyers and doctors, they were like, well, which one does he own? We'll go support that one every day. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? He said, tell me which one he owns and we'll go support it. They could not conceptualize that he bought the whole restaurant group.
Right.
Just could not see it.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is critical in why we spend so much time at the Russell Center focusing as much on mindset as you do teaching about a P&L or how to manage a balance sheet. That if you don't see it for yourself, don't feel like you belong, if you don't even think it's possible for you to be a millionaire, I can guarantee you that you're not going to be one.
I was speaking at Empire Board, and I got asked a question about affordable housing. And this was my response, Jay. I'm going to just make the response because I think you're going to echo. And we hadn't talked about this. This has not been staged. But I posed the question back to the person who asked the question. I said, I think we're having the wrong conversation. I said, every time I get in circles like this, the conversation comes up about affordable housing. We need more affordable housing. We need more affordable housing. I don't knock that, but I said more than anything, Jay, we need more people making more money. We keep having this conversation about really the glass being half empty at all times. So we can't see a full glass. I'm like, Black folks, we're good at survival. We can survive with the best. Where I want to get to is where we thrive and accept that as normality. Working with Herman Russell, dude, it was normality. This dude was on Air Force One in his 40s with a speech impediment, grew up in Jim Crow, South Georgia. I mean, in Atlanta, what I'm saying, in the South. But to see that man operate, dude, you'd have thought he was a Harvard scholar. I mean, he had the confidence. Dude, he had the confidence of God, bro. He had the dude. He was a man who, dude, it was nothing, second class or second about him.
My man.
And some people would say, well, with speech impediment, growing up in the South, that he had every excuse not to obtain these things. But dude, in spite of, he killed it. Oh man, my whole thing is, I'm all focused. I'm good with affordable, but we need people to start making more money. So when I think about Rice and what you're doing, that's why I get excited.
Well, we don't have to hide from the conversation though, T. Dallas. I think it means something to be in this building. As I tell people all the time, I just finished telling a group just now. Do you think, can you consider the audacity of a black man 70 years ago, Jim Crow segregated racist South like you talked about, still documented lynchings of black men, and their only crime was thinking too much of themselves? This brother had the audacity to dream up a headquarter building that would eventually become a 50,000 square foot facility that is a full city block wide 70 years ago. He had that kind of unyielding confidence in the ability, and the most powerful piece to that is two things, guys. One, at a time where being black could be dangerous, he didn't name his company Acme Inc. He named it H.J. Russell and Company on Front Street. Come get me.
That's it.
I'm not hiding. He built his headquarter building. For everybody listening, think about this guy at this time. We haven't even gotten to the brother had a pool inside his house at the age of 30, where young Dr. King used to go and try to figure out how to change the world at his house in a neighborhood that he helped master plan and build in his mid-20s. Let's not talk about that. But the vision to build a headquarter building on a hill that overlooked the campuses of Morehouse, Clark, Spelman, and Morris Brown, at a time where you couldn't go to the University of Georgia, Georgia State, Emory, or Georgia Tech. And he knew that as those students would matriculate to the best schools available for black people, they needed to see the physical manifestation of what was possible for people that looked like them. So he built his headquarters on a hill overlooking those campuses.
Yeah.
Speech impediment, Jim Crow South, all these things that were working against him. And this is what I mean around why I get jazzed about entrepreneurs. Some may call it arrogance, but this level of courage and confidence that it takes to take all of the things that are working against you and have the courage and the strength to push back. And everybody's not built like that, T. Dallas. And to be able to be in this building that you can't help when you're in this building, but to keep your chin up. Because for everything he went through, we don't have the right to fail. And inherently in this building, it is a constant reminder of what is possible. When I look in the mirror, that somebody that looks like me, maybe I'm not the smartest in the room, maybe I ain't got all the money in the world, maybe whatever my impalements are, the building itself is a testament that doesn't even matter. What is the heart that you're pumping right now, and how committed are you to changing the lives of not only yourself, but everybody that you touch? And so, brother, be here is part of that constant reminder of every step that I take in this building. When I look out of this window and I see Spelman, Morehouse, and Clark, and Morris Brown, bro, this building I'm sitting in was built by a black man who the whole world told he was worth nothing.
Hey, and let's not forget, just about everything on that side of the street he owns. I acquired the block where the Pascals is located over an 8-year process with me and Herman. And so, dude, when you see what he's acquired, I remember one time because you know this story. He took the wrong Daryl to a meeting because people were listening. HJ didn't call me Dallas; he called me Daryl. He made a mistake calling me Daryl. He stuck to that. So somebody invited me to go to a meeting, but it was the other Daryl. It was Daryl Mims, the CFO, who should have been at me, not this Daryl. So it was rare that I got just time together with just me and him. So I was going to take full advantage of that. We're coming back and we're driving in, man. And he said, I'm paying these people too much money. All these nice cars out here. And he's driving like a Trailblazer or something. I said, HJ, you can drive what you want to drive. He said, until I got every dime I need, this is what I'm going to drive. So he had his mind.
He knew he'd never have every dime he needed.
Exactly. And so, but what was funny to me, I just asked, I think I'm going to get some big dissertation. I said, HJ, man, what would you tell a young guy? Because I'm in my 30s at the time. I'm 33, 34 years old. HJ, what would you tell a young guy like me? What can I do? If I want to be like you? I'm waiting on this dissertation, Jay. He turns to me, he goes, real estate. That was everything. So,
period.
That was it. And then the other thing I'd add to that was he was always buy it when it's ugly. So when you think about what was over there back in the day, dude, buy it when it's ugly. And he knew that was going to be a part of downtown. And it has happened, man. So anyway, I'm sorry, we're getting off tangent, but I could talk about HJ for 4 hours and still have more to talk about. But we have to stop here. Coming up next time with Jay Bailey, the president and CEO of the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs. Jay shares what he would tell young Jay Bailey today.
So the best advice I ever got was from Ambassador Andrew Young. And he told me, son, you better make your friends before you need them. And I think if I could talk to younger Jay or the younger Jay coming behind me that isn't Jay, it's around the power of your tribe, your power of your community, the power of solid relationships.
This has been In the Black with T. Dallas Smith. To find out how you can change the dominant narrative in the commercial real estate industry and challenge the status quo to improve the lives of others, go to tdsintheblack.com. In the Black with T. Dallas Smith is a production of Forbes Books.